The neon lights of the gas station flickered like a tired heartbeat against the deep, midnight sky, casting pale reflections on the cracked concrete where oil stains told stories of thousands who had passed through without ever being remembered. It was close to 11:30 p.m. on a lonely stretch of highway, the kind of place where the world felt far away and help felt even farther. Emma Carter pulled her old sedan up beside pump number 4, her hands trembling slightly as she turned off the engine. The car coughed once before going silent, as if even it was exhausted from carrying too much weight for too long. In the back seat, her 6-year-old son Noah slept curled against a faded jacket, his chest rising and falling softly, unaware of how close his mother was to breaking. Emma was a single mother, worn down by years of loss, sacrifice, and endless struggle. Her husband had died in a construction accident 3 years earlier, leaving behind unpaid bills, a grieving wife, and a little boy who still asked why Daddy never came home. Tonight, Emma had exactly $18.47 in her wallet, just enough to get them home if nothing went wrong. She whispered a small prayer as she stepped out of the car, the cold air biting into her thin sweater, and slid her card into the pump, hoping it wouldn't decline like it had too many times before. That was when she noticed them. 3 men leaning against a black pickup truck parked near the convenience store, laughing too loudly, drinking something from brown bottles, their eyes scanning the lot like predators bored of waiting. One of them nudged another and nodded toward Emma. She felt it instantly, that familiar knot in her stomach that women learn to recognize far too early in life. She kept her head down, pretending not to see them, pretending that if she acted invisible, she might become invisible. The pump began to hum and relief washed over her for just a second until she heard footsteps approaching. "Hey, sweetheart," a voice slurred from behind her, thick with mockery. She froze. Slowly she turned. The tallest of the 3 stood too close, his breath heavy with alcohol, a crooked grin stretching across his face. "That's a nice little car you got there. Bet it's seen better days," his friends laughed, spreading out around her like a tightening circle. Emma's heart pounded so hard she thought it might wake. "Noah, please," she said quietly, her voice shaking despite her effort to keep it steady. "I'm just getting gas. I want no trouble." The man laughed again, louder this time. "Trouble? Who said anything about trouble? We're just being friendly." One of the others stepped closer, glancing into the back seat. "You got a kid in there?" he sneered. "Real classy, dragging a kid out here this late." Fear crawled up Emma's spine. Her mind raced through every warning she'd ever been told, every story she'd read, every nightmare she'd tried to forget. She instinctively positioned herself between the men and her car. Her body a shield she wasn't sure was strong enough. "Leave us alone," she pleaded. "Please." The first man's smile faded, replaced by something darker. "Or what?" he said, his voice suddenly sharp. He knocked the gas nozzle slightly, fuel splashing onto the concrete. "You gonna scream? Ain't nobody around to hear you." The station attendant was inside, head down, absorbed in his phone. The highway beyond was empty, cars rushing past without slowing, their headlights briefly illuminating the scene before disappearing into the dark. Emma felt tears sting her eyes, but she forced them back. She couldn't afford to fall apart. Not now, not in front of her son. One of the men reached toward her arm, his fingers brushing her sleeve. And that was when something inside her snapped, not into strength, but into desperate resolve. She shoved him back with all the force she had, which wasn't much. The men stumbled, then burst into laughter. "Feisty," one of them said. "I like that." Then faint at first came a sound that didn't belong. A low rumble, deep, steady. Not the rush of passing cars, but something heavier. Emma didn't notice it at first, but the men did. One of them glanced toward the highway, squinting. "You hear that?" he asked. The rumble grew louder, multiplied, rolling like distant thunder. Headlights appeared in the distance, not 1 or 2, but many, stretching across the road in a slow, deliberate line. The laughter faltered. The men turned fully now, watching as motorcycle after motorcycle exited the highway and pulled into the gas station lot, engines roaring in unison. Chrome gleamed under the lights. Leather jackets bore patches and symbols worn with pride. Helmets came off one by one as the bikes formed a wide circle around the pumps, cutting off every exit. The air changed instantly. The men's confidence drained from their faces as if someone had pulled a plug. Emma stood frozen, unsure whether to feel relief or new fear. The first biker dismounted slowly, his boots heavy against the concrete. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his beard streaked with gray, eyes sharp but calm. He looked at Emma first. Really looked at her. The fear in her face, the way she trembled, the way she stood protectively in front of her car. Then he turned to the men. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice low but powerful, cutting through the hum of engines. One of the thugs scoffed weakly. "Nah, man. Just talking." The biker glanced at the spilled fuel, at Emma's shaking hands, at the sleeping child in the back seat. "Didn't look like talking to me," he said. Another biker stepped forward, then another, until the three men were surrounded by a wall of leather. Steel and quiet authority. No shouting. No threats. Just presence. The kind that didn't need to prove anything. The tallest thug swallowed hard. "We're leaving," he muttered. "Good idea," the bearded biker replied. "And don't come back." The men scrambled into their truck, tires squealing as they sped off into the night, their laughter gone, replaced by fear and humiliation. Silence fell over the gas station, broken only by the soft ticking of cooling engines. Emma's legs finally gave out, and she leaned against her car, sobs breaking free despite her efforts to hold them back. The bearded biker approached slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. "Ma'am," he said gently. "You're safe now." She nodded, unable to speak. Another biker crouched near the back seat, smiling softly at Noah without waking him. "Kid's out cold," he whispered. "Didn't see a thing." Someone handed Emma a bottle of water. Another quietly reset the gas pump and finished fueling her car. No one asked questions. No one demanded thanks. They simply did what needed to be done. As Emma wiped her tears, the bearded biker spoke again. "World's rough enough as it is," he said. "No one should have to face it alone." She finally found her voice. Barely a whisper. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't come." He gave a small nod. "Sometimes," he replied. "Good people show up right when they're needed." The bikers began mounting their motorcycles again, engines roaring to life, but before they left, the bearded man turned back one last time. "Take care of that boy," he said, "and don't lose faith." Then they were gone, disappearing into the night as suddenly as they had arrived, leaving behind only the echo of engines and a single mother who would never forget the night. Strangers became guardians. And if stories like this, stories of courage, kindness, and unexpected heroes, move your heart, then this channel is for you. Subscribe now. Because every story we share is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, humanity still rides in.